Can you believe that October is almost upon us? And you know what that means? It means it's time for a spooky readathon. And I'm doing one, so stick around to see what it's all about. Well, hey friends, Roger here, and welcome to my channel, Rogers Reads. So today I'm doing my TBR for the SBOOKTOBER Readathon, which is a readathon that takes place during the entire month of October. So the theme for this readathon is that we're at a costume party, and well, let's say a virtual costume party, and the prompts and challenges have to do with things that you might see or do at such a party. And what's fun about this party is that it lasts during the entire month of October, all month long. So the challenges and prompts are broken down into 4 groups, which are costume party, dance floor playlist, refreshments, and festivities. Now you only have to do the challenges that you want, and I've actually chosen 13 different prompts, with 13 being a lucky number for October. And my goal is to read 10 books for the challenge. So some of the books will cover 2 prompts. I also hope to vlog about it, so we'll see how that goes. So I'll put a list of all the prompts down below, including the ones that I'm not doing, so they'll be there if you decide to participate in the challenge. I'll also put a link to Vanessa's announcement over at Paper Fairy. There are actually 13 hosts for this readathon, and Vanessa has a link to all of them on her channel. So let's get into the challenges and the TBR. So the first one is a book with magic. And for that, I went with Hocus Pocus, the all-new sequel. So this is the sequel to the first book, which I never read. I've watched the movie like every year. I watch the movie. I love Hocus Pocus. So this takes place, I believe, like 20 years after the first movie left off, and follows the daughter of the 2 main characters from the first book/movie. And that's really all I know about it, but except that she ends up releasing the witches once again. And actually this book includes the first book and the second book. And I plan on reading both of them for this challenge, so yes. But this book also meets the second challenge, silly costume, read a book that you think will make you laugh. And the first movie was quite comical, so I'm assuming that this book will be amusing as well. So that meets 2 challenges. Next up is read a horror. For that one, I chose The Wood. And I bought this a while back, and I really don't know anything about this. So let me read you the synopsis. Winter didn't ask to be the guardian of the wood, but when her dad inexplicably vanishes, she's the one who must protect travelers who accidentally slip through its portals. The wood is poisoned, changing into something more sinister. Once brightly colored leaves are now bubbling inky black. Vicious creatures that live in the shadows are becoming bolder, torturing lost travelers. Winter must then put her trust in Henry, a young man from the 18th century England who knows more than he should about the wood, in order to find the truth and maybe those they've lost. So, sounds intriguing. I love the cover with the leaf with the dripping blood. The next prompt is read a fantasy. So for this one, I went with Marina by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. And here's the book here. And again, I really don't know too much about this, except it's about a 15-year-old boy who vanishes from a boarding school, and he meets a strange woman or girl while exploring the city, ends up in a cemetery where he's witness to a macabre ritual. And then him and Marina end up taking a journey that transports them to forgotten post-war Barcelona. So it sounds like there's some time travel going on in here. So sounds very intriguing. And they said that this is like a cult classic in Spain, I believe. Yes, so it's long been a cult classic in Spain. And I've been wanting to get to this for a while, so this is a good reason to do so. So next up is take a small piece of candy and read a novella or graphic novel. For this one, I'm going with Heartstoppers 2, which is the second book in this trilogy by Alice Oseman. And I read the first one and I absolutely loved it. So I'm really excited to get to this one. And I also, I'm using this one for another challenge as well. Couples Costume Read a Romance. And this is a very, very sweet romance. So this fulfills 2 of the challenges in this readathon. So Heartstoppers 2. Next up is read a thriller. And for that one, I'm reading The Last Flight. This is written by Julie Clark. So all I know about this one is that it follows a woman who's being abused by her husband. She plans her escape, and at the airport, she meets another woman who's escaping from something as well. And I do believe they end up exchanging passports or plane tickets, so they get on each other's flight. Well, the flight that the stranger was on crashed. And now everybody believes that the main character, Claire, is dead. So now she steps into the shoes of the woman with whom she changed identities. And of course, the question is, what was this woman running from? So very intriguing and a fun book. So the next challenge is a face on the cover. For that one, I'm going with The Lady's Guide to Pentecost and Piracy, and this is by Mackenzie Lee. And I read the first book in this series, The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, and I absolutely adored it. It was a 5-star read for me. So this is the sequel to that. And this story follows Monty's sister, who I believe gets into all sorts of trouble. So I hope it's as much of a fun romp as the first one was. So looking forward to it. So the next one is a cover you can't stop eyeballing. That's Eyeball Soup. And for this one, I went with The Wise and the Wicked. So this follows a group, a family of hereditary witches. And from what I can remember, each witch gets a vision of their death, so they know exactly how they're going to die, and there is no escaping it, no changing it. Until one of the main characters' great aunt Paulina passes away, and for the first time ever, a woman's death in the family was not foretold by the vision. So then the characters end up searching for a way to change their fates, and that's really all I know about this book, but it's been on my anticipated TBR for quite some time, so I'm looking forward to finally getting to it. Next up is Titanwarp, a book set in a different time. And for this one, I'm going with Washington Black. And this takes place during the time of slavery and follows a young slave boy who somehow manages to escape, and we follow his adventures. And I've heard nothing but fantastic things about this book. In fact, it was nominated for the Booker Prize a year or 2 ago. So I've been meaning to get to it. But yeah, as I mentioned, nothing but rave reviews about this book, so I can't wait to dive in. Next up is a book with a character you think will be unlikable. And for this one, I'm going with Vengeful, which is the second book in this duology by V.E. Schwab. And I read the first book, Vicious, a while ago, and I absolutely loved it. I've been meaning to get to this second book for quite some time. And the reason I chose this book for this challenge is that both characters are pretty much unlikable, and I doubt that this book will change my opinion of either of them. But yet, the story is fascinating. So, there you are. And the last challenge is Punchbowl, a book with a character who fights. For this one, I went with Lost Book of the White, and this is the second book in the Eldest Curses series, the first being Red Sea Scrolls, which follows Magnus Bane and Alec Lightwood as they battle all sorts of demons and other creatures that go bump in the night. This book, I do believe, picks up where the second book left off. And there was a formidable foe in that first book, and I assume they'll be fighting that same foe in this one. So yeah, the Lost Book of the White. So that is it for the books that I will be reading for the SBOOKTOBER Readathon. How about you? Do you plan on doing this readathon? If so, again, I'll have the link below so you can check it out and decide if it's something you want to do. And if you do decide to do the readathon, post a link to your video down below so I can check out your TBR. So, did you like this little TBR video? If so, please click the like button below, as that really helps my channel out. And as always, I thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all of your support, and I will talk to you all in the next video. Roger and out.